What's going on, everybody? This is Raw Dawg Sports. I am Mike. That is Evo. As far back as I can remember, all I ever wanted to be was a gangster. And we got to talk about some gangster shit tonight across the NFL, MLB, and obviously the NBA. But without further ado, my man, Evo, welcome in, brother. How you doing?
Fucking terrible. It was a dog shit game last night.
Yeah,
that's how I feel. Last episode, positivity and all this bullshit. Fuck positivity. That fucking game sucked cock. Everything about it. The officiating sucked cock. The Vikings sucked cock. Carson Wentz, feel a little bad that he was on the sideline crying, but he sucked cock. Like, it was just a lot of cock sucking going around out in LA, which I guess is not too abnormal. But yeah, that sucked balls. Trying to maintain the positivity through it, which is difficult, but it is what it is.
Yeah, man. So I decided I was not going to finish that game after like about the first 4 minutes of the goddamn third quarter. Is like, what? This thing's over. I was happy to see that, Kamani Vidal had a really good night, finished out really strong. That was helpful for me in our Chop fantasy league, which, by the way, I love that kind of league. It's really cool concept.
It is interesting. It's the first time I've been in a league like that. First time I've ever had to deal with fab, the money that you have to actually move around assets. I went aggressive from the rip, and it's been a good thing doing that so far. I'm a little bit worried how it's going to nip me in the bud by the end of it, because there's still people who have like 1,000 that they started off with to go out there and make moves when some of these good teams starts getting knocked off. But it is interesting for sure. Enjoying it.
I mean, I love the, nip me in the bud reference there. Horticulture, baby. Love that. Yeah, you guys, it was tough. It was a tough night. And we're going to get into it. I don't know if we have too many other things that we want to dive into outside of baseball. Baseball is obviously starting up. The World Series Game 1 first pitch should be happening, or just happened not too long ago. Dodgers taking on the Blue Jays. Going to be a fun series. A lot of home runs potentially hitting this home run. A young pitcher versus old pitching staff. Man, I'm excited to actually watch some of these games. I've been betting on my dude Ernie Clement to hit a home run basically every game of the postseason. He hasn't done it yet, but when he does, it's gonna fucking pay. When it does, it's gonna pay.
I'm honestly just kind of disappointed the Mariners didn't make it. I was rooting for the Mariners through most of this postseason, so it was disappointing not to see them make it. But it is what it is. Last time that we had a Canadian team in the World Series, it ended up creating a child, which then created a movie known as Big Daddy. So that was pretty cool.
That is very true. Fucking Toronto, man.
Yeah.
Is it 98?
I don't even. You're the movie reference guy here.
I am the movie reference guy. I don't have to pull that up for next time. But I'm pumped for baseball. Let's talk about the movie reference that I did kind of reference coming in before we start diving into all the football. The NBA is under fire, and I think just sports bet gambling in general is going to be coming under fire here pretty shortly, because I didn't realize that this kind of thing was still happening. The five families, La Cosa Nostra, are still operating and rigging fucking basketball games, and apparently some card games involving Chauncey Billups, where they have some crazy scanning technology, where they can see your cards. So, and apparently this is from all the things that I've seen, this bust has been built for like the last 4 years. This
Yeah,
is an ongoing thing that they have been working towards.
what's the
I put out
operation name that the FBI? It's Hustler or something to do with poker. It sounded like.
Yeah, I think they have catchy names for each one of the operations because it's the FBI and they have to jerk themselves off. But I mean, I get it. Like, you have the cool name. Just the fact that this is happening blows my mind. The fact that the mafia is still operating, like just like the old days, is insane to me. And how much could you possibly be in for that you are willing to risk everything to get tied up with the mob? Because I don't know too many stories where it comes out where you're tied up with the mob where it comes out positive.
Yeah, but I mean that's also part of it is that you don't hear much about the mob right now. So chances of being found out, you probably feel are pretty low. I mean, there's a lot of other things on the priority list within the country of people that they're going after right now, and over the past 5 to 10 years, spotlights elsewhere. And so, like, I understood that the mob probably is still operating in some capacity, but at a way lower level than anything that we're used to with something like, say, the cartels. However, like the families ain't just going away,
No, the five families don't fuck around, man.
No, and they've probably gotten a little bit more legitimate with their stuff. But as with everything with crime, is as government and the policing of it get more advanced, so do the criminals.
Yes, they do.
And they've done some Q level shit with what X-ray glasses and X-ray tables and shit like that.
Yeah,
and the fixed card games.
You can read fucking like invisible ink. That's insane. That's like spy shit, dude. That doesn't make any sense. But I guess they're doing it. I mean, the mafia can get people to do a lot of things if you're into them for any amount of money. I mean, if you get tied in with the mafia, you'd be like, fuck, they might actually break my legs or some shit.
Hey Tony, look at this. This is some serious shit here. You can see through shit. This is some fucking cool right here. It's pretty impressive.
Oh
yeah,
man.
That's awesome. But a lot of big names being wrapped up and embroiled in this. Obviously Chauncey Billup. Is it Rozier? Rozier?
Terry Rozier, yeah. He looks like he's throwing fucking games. If you look into any of his play.
Yeah, absolutely. Even names as big as LeBron James have been linked to this now, where apparently they have information of like his injury statuses being leaked by personal confidants to people for gambling purposes. Guys throwing games essentially saying like, hey, I'm going out in this quarter with an injury, things like that. It's pretty bad. And it's a super big black mark on the NBA to have this kind of, in their league. There's been questions throughout sports forever about fixing games.
An ongoing investigation right now with Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz of the Guardians concerning gambling.
Yeah. But to have some of this stuff come out as fans, you're probably like, I fucking knew it.
Oh yeah.
But because I mean, we say all the time, this game's fucking rigged. This game is rigged about all these sports games. Now you're actually seeing it kind of come out and you're like, holy shit, it kind of was rigged with some of these things. And you brought up how is this going to affect the gambling landscape going forward? You went as far as to say, we might see this actually like start to pull some gambling out of sports. I don't know that it'll go that far. I think that this is definitely going to create a crazy pressure lock system on gambling, though, where it's not as easy as signing up on an app anymore. It's going to probably have to involve certain things like, not as far as maybe a background investigation, but like true identification of who it is that is gambling, linked to bank accounts to confirm that this is actually the person that is gambling. And then sports players are probably going to have to somehow register within their leagues to have their financials tracked to ensure that they're not gambling. It's going to have to somehow get into like CBAs and stuff like that to show that them and their close confidants aren't somehow doing side gambling. And I don't know the ins and outs of how, they find out that like Shohei Ohtani's trainer is gambling on shit, but they have their ways, obviously, because this stuff comes up. And so there's already certain levels in place to find this shit out. But it's going to probably get more intense from here, because I don't think that the leagues, after getting a little taste of this gambling money and everything that it brings to their profit margins, that they're going to allow it to just be walked away.
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be. Now, the only reason I bring this up is because conservatives are kind of in charge of everything right now. Typically not big fans of gambling. And the way things have gone in this country, I mean, I would not be surprised if states individually maybe pull back some of the things that you're allowed to gamble on, or if you're gambling at all. Because while it is federally legal, some states you're still not able to go and do, FanDuel and things like that. So I would not be surprised to see a couple of states maybe clamp down on this. Some of your more strict southern states, I would not be shocked at all. Maybe nationally, yeah, it would be. I think it's going to be really hard to put, Pandora back in its fucking box at this point. Like, everybody's gambling on sports, even nobody who knows about sports. They're gambling on, women's, cricket in India. So, yeah. We're not going back in the box.
That's the thing, is I think we know prohibition never works. We've seen it in multiple facets in this country, whether it's with alcohol or marijuana. We are seeing, legalization of marijuana throughout the country. Prohibition of sports betting, when it was a underground thing for quite a while, outside of, your Las Vegas and things like that. And now that it's out of the bag, to try to put that cat back in the bag, even in states, I think the only ones that are safe are the states that currently don't have it legally. And when I say safe, those are the ones that, aren't going to all of a sudden loosen their belts and allow it. It might set them back, but I don't think it's going to prevent the whole thing. The same way that, we have, unfortunately, alcohol-related deaths all the time with driving. Well, neither driving nor drinking alcohol is banned. It's an unfortunate circumstance that those things happen. However, on the whole, as a majority, you understand what you're entering into when you begin to drink, or when you drive, or both together as legal adults. And you can only gamble legally as an adult. And so you are entering into that with knowing that there's potential hazards. I mean, the apps definitely do a job of warning you that you are entering into a realm where if you make a mistake, you will be paying for it.
Yes.
It goes so far as, if I have my FanDuel app open for too long, FanDuel says, "Hey, you have your app open for a while. Do you have a problem?" Like, that sort of bullshit. And it's like, no, I just fucking forgot and I'm lazy and I just fucking left it sitting. I don't think that they're going to be able to put that cat back in the bag. But for the states that don't have it, it might make them second guess, or give people who are against gambling a little bit more ammunition to stave off what is ultimately going to end up becoming, legalized some point in time in the future.
Yeah. I agree, man. Like, maybe a little visceral reaction to me when I first heard this, but when you have this many names and you consider, I mean, I think it was the mafia fact that blew me away. The fact that the fucking Italian, or I'm not even Italian, I'm sorry, the Sicilian mafia, I don't want to fuck that up, the Cosa Nostra, is still operating, and they are doing so just like they were back in the day, running illegal gambling. By the way, I cannot wait to see Chauncey's game, kind of like Molly's game. I think it'll probably be a little bit different in the storytelling, but Chauncey's game is probably going to be a fucking banger.
Yeah. I honestly didn't know Chauncey Billups was coaching. I just remember him from back when he was with the Wolves and all that. And I was like, oh man, that's crazy to see him wrapped up in all this. Yeah. And then all the other big names that are slowly being linked. And I'm sure that as the scab continues to get picked, more shit's going to come out, and it'll be really interesting to watch. It was really interesting to watch even last night on Thursday Night Football, and Al Michaels, who is a fucking G, Just
Sure.
throwing out gambling references left and right when, it's on the tip of the tongue already and things like that. And he knows what he's fucking doing. The dude's a pro, and he's a pro that doesn't give a fuck because he's gotten paid and is continuing to get paid lots of money. And so he just likes to kind of just fucking shake the basket a little bit, Yeah.
Sure. Shit stirring, baby.
Absolutely. And we actually got to see that a little bit last night in that Thursday night game with even the kicking scandal with my kicker, Will Reichard, when, his kick versus your Browns ended up hitting a wire for one of the suspended cameras. It was confirmed by the league and kind of widely distributed that the league confirmed, yes, there was a mistake. The kick, his field goal that went awry, did hit a wire. However, they were not going to overturn the rule books or anything like that, which I thought was just a bitch move. But whatever. And then Al Michaels brings it up last night about that. And then immediately NFL gets him to walk it back and say, it was an optical illusion. Now we've fixed that. Like, really? Yeah. You're going to, again, putting cats in the bag. It's not going to happen. It's already out there. Everyone already knows. And now Al Michaels doesn't look foolish. The league looks foolish. And what makes it look even more foolish is when it happens again to the same team you're fucking talking about. Because if you're unaware, it happened again last night. A Will Reichard kick from 53 yards right before halftime miraculously falls short. And the announcers are like, how did that happen? He kicks him from 60. How did it go short? And then through the sleuthing of fans, the video out there shows pretty clear, in my opinion, ball go up. You see the camera, you see the wire, you see the trajectory of the ball, the spin of the ball stop, change, and the ball start heading downwards. And you see what looks to be the wire go twing, and the camera go woo. It seemed pretty fucking obvious. It's insane that this has happened twice. It's always been a question. You're suspending these cameras. What happens if it hits a wire or something like that? And I've never heard of it happening before. However, the rule is if it happens, it's a re-kick.
Yep.
But it's been missed twice now. And I believe that there's a legitimate grievance to be made by my Vikings as to what the fuck that is. As there is a legitimate grievance to be made by what the fuck is a catch. Because that sure looked like a fucking interception to me and a pick six. And yes, I am a homer in that aspect. But again, when you start to look at other catches from this year that were ruled catches, even upon replay, that had more movement while touching the ground than that catch, it makes you question what the fuck is going on. We need to somehow clear this shit up. Because that's bullshit to me. Like, I don't know if it would have absolutely changed the game, but it was important. It's a momentum changer in the beginning of a game to have that happen and to have it taken away.
For sure. Because I texted you as soon as it happened. I was like, oh, shit, there you guys go. That's what you needed to get this kind of thing going for you. And then it comes back. Back to the Reichard kicks, though. I hope that somebody asks him how he does what he does. How he miraculously gets the ball to change trajectory in midair. And I hope somebody does it in a press conference.
They don't really
I would love to hear the answer.
They don't typically bring the kickers in the press conferences. That's probably more of a Kevin O'Connell question or maybe the special teams coordinator, but still. And I'm pretty sure that as this kind of proliferates through the internet a little bit more, which, by the way, if you want to see the video, check me out on the X. You can see me here. I'll throw up my little X name here again so you can see it's on the X multiple times on my X at Raw Dawg Evo. It's on there, and I'm sure it's going to get asked, what the fuck is up with these kicks? All I can say is Big Dick Bill, supreme accuracy. Like, not only is he kicking it through the uprights from distance, but he's able to find the wires and kick them like no problem.
Yeah. Probably would want to avoid that because NFL referees suck dick and they're never going to see it. So,
yeah.
But yeah, it's happened twice. He's been screwed. I feel for you. And listen, I thought it maybe moved that ball maybe moved a little bit. And we can continue talking about your game real quick and just wrap this one up before we start diving into our picks. But I thought it maybe moved a little bit, and I can see how they could call it back. From your side, I understand wanting that shit, especially early in that game. But I don't know if it would have mattered. Your guys' offensive line was terrible. I mean, the injuries continue to pile back up. Darisaw goes out again. You guys were on your backup tackles. Carson Wentz was getting the shit kicked out of him. I don't really know if it would have made much of a difference the way this thing really ended up going, because your offensive line just didn't show up or got hurt.
Yeah, and look, there's a ton of criticisms to be had here. I do want to say the general stuff, both Facebook and X, of fire O'Connell and this and that and the other, in that he's not the coach.
Please, actually, fire O'Connell.
We're taking it way too far
this week.
Yeah, I'm sure. We're taking that way too far. Like, we do have to keep things in perspective here, and there is definitely a middle ground to this. Kevin O'Connell absolutely deserves criticism. Look, any team that goes into the year thinking that their roster that they go in with is going to be the roster that they have throughout the entire year is absolutely wrong. And I don't think that the Vikings thought that, but it's tough to predict the amount of injuries and things that they've had. It's been really, really bad. It's when you have both of your starting offensive tackles down. And yes, Christian Darisaw started the game, but he was still a question mark to start the game. Ended up only playing 9 snaps. So you're down to not your backup tackle, but your 2 backup tackles who are backups for a reason, right? It's because they're not starter caliber, and we're able to see that play in and play out. And then you don't have your starting center there. And while Blake Brandel, I think, is doing an all right job for his third ever professional game, third ever game ever snapping, he's doing an all right job. But he is a guy that was a tackle. He's 6'7". He's playing out of position. And I think that maybe he has a future at center for sure, but like playing way out of position. And, I think the offensive line coach has some questions to answer because they're not picking up stunts. It's not like Will Fries and Donovan Jackson are bad players, but they're not picking up stunts. And this is something that, we saw in week 1 and 2, that they weren't picking up stunts well. Are we not practicing well enough? Kevin O'Connell came out and said, it's my fault. I did not have my team prepared for this game, which, you're wearing a fun shirt today.
I am.
Should have done better.
Have to be better, bro. Gotta be. Have to be better.
I am all for personal accountability, and I'm glad that Kevin O'Connell's taking that. It's a different thing when you're hearing every single week, which is unfortunately the situation that your Browns typically are in. But on top of that, a lot of people are going at Kevin O'Connell for the play calling. I do think that we move away from the run or move into too complex of a passing game too often. That being said, Tyler Forness, one of the beat writers for the Vikings and a big draft pundit, he's got great breakdowns on X of the all-22 footage. Kevin O'Connell is actually scheming up some really good plays. There are guys open where Wentz is getting sacked, and it's because he's not processing, not seeing, not throwing the ball where he should. And it's probably one of the reasons why he is a backup quarterback in this league. In addition to, you see the same sort of stuff that we saw last week on the first play of the game, when it's just a little swing pass to the running back and he can't fucking hit him. Yeah. Like, his accuracy is wonky. Yes, he's hurt in his non-throwing shoulder, but it's wonky. And then that accuracy gets worse throughout the game, and he is absolutely getting destroyed. That is big on the offensive line as well. And the defense, we're seeing guys not perform like they should. It makes me question a lot of what we did in the offseason, which, the moves all sounded really good. Obviously, I was very high on the moves that we made. Right. But so far to this point, outside of week 1, Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen have not been a boost to our interior defensive line. They had tons of pressures week 1, and then they haven't even gotten the same amount of pressures in all the rest of the weeks to equate to what they got in week 1. We're not seeing those guys perform like you want to, which, if you're not getting the pressure, your secondary, which our secondary is weaker, is going to show its flaws because that pressure isn't there. You're down Andrew Van Ginkel for a majority of the year now, not getting the pressures. It's a problem when you have those guys hurt on both sides of the ball. And my last thing, look, this game sucked. I watched the entirety because I've seen this team come back from crazy deficits before and have things start to click, because I know that they have talent and they know they have the capability of doing that. And just last week, we saw a team score 33 points in the motherfucking fourth quarter. And I wasn't expecting that, but at one point in time, we were still like 10 to 14 points down.
Right.
So that's doable in a quarter. But yeah, it was just a really, really rough outing. People are calling it the worst outing, or I don't know how it's basically the low point of the Kevin O'Connell era. And I kind of agree with how that looked, because this team is more talented than they were last year, but they're more injured than they were last year. And last year's team obviously was able to go out there and get 14 wins, which is definitely worrisome for me.
The quarterback position, the quarterback spot is drastically different, though. We talked about this a little bit last week, man. Like, the difference between Carson Wentz and Sam Darnold is pretty fucking clear at this point. Like, and I was not a Sam Darnold guy, but Sam is doing it now in another location. He's kind of figuring it out. Carson has been to a lot of places, and he's been with KOC, and he's still having the same fucking problems. So I think that's a Carson Wentz issue. I think the quarterback play has really hurt you guys, because, listen, you probably wouldn't have had a great year anyways. Your rookie was going to go out there and make mistakes and have his rookie lumps, but you're not even getting those fucking rookie lumps because he's injured, which is setting you back even more. So this year for you guys is, I mean, it's going to suck. You're 3-4 right now. Maybe if JJ comes back and he's healthy and you can get some things going, you guys can compete for a spot. But you got to get JJ reps now at this point, because Carson Wentz is not going to be the dude that saves and keeps this fucking season afloat.
Absolutely not. I don't know that we can. And look, the criticism that I have for KOC was how long Carson Wentz was out there last night. It's like when you have a boxer and you know that he's out and hurt, and you keep putting him back in, and that's dangerous, man. And it was the same thing. Like, you saw every movement that he was making was hurting him. And then to continue to put him back out there, I would have loved to have seen Brosmer out there and seen more from him other than the last couple minutes of the game, just for the sake of getting Wentz off the field, see what we got in Brosmer a little bit, because he had a pretty good preseason. But yeah, McCarthy has to play. I absolutely think that he's going to play against Detroit. If you saw him on the sideline, he looked limber enough at that point where I think he's, the injury isn't going to stall him from playing. And outside of him actually not having a bunch of those rookie style lumps, or the positives far outweigh the negatives that you see from a young quarterback, I think the season is definitely trending towards a 500 record right now. The good news is that this is basically a mini bye coming off of previously another bye. We should be getting some of those guys hopefully back, a Darrisaw, an O'Neal, a Van Ginkel, and JJ McCarthy. And that's kind of like the bread, butter, heart of the team, big guys that we need. And so hopefully we can see an increase in play from there. The problem is that we are going up against the Lions next week. So it's not going to be an easy game at all. And look, this is maybe reaching a little bit too much into the Minnesota stuff, but one of the conversations I heard today that I think actually has some validity to it is whether or not hiring Kevin O'Connell was a mistake. And that's because originally we brought in Harbaugh. Harbaugh thought he had the job. And I was definitely open to Harbaugh. And then we ended up going KOC instead. And let me be very clear. I love Kevin O'Connell. I love that he's our head coach. But you look at all the different things that Kevin O'Connell is kind of lauded for, and Jim Harbaugh does it better. He's taken his NFL teams and won playoff games. KOC hasn't won a playoff game. He's taken his teams to the NFC Championship basically like every other year that he's been a professional coach. He's won national championships in college. He has groomed quarterbacks. He's gotten the most out of quarterbacks like Colin Kaepernick and Alex Smith at the professional level. He's built, like, Kevin O'Connell has built an amazing culture with the Vikings. But you ask any player that's ever played for Harbaugh, he doesn't build a culture. He builds a cult that will die for him. Everything that Kevin O'Connell does well, Harbaugh kind of does better. And it makes you kind of have to take a step back. And it's like, if you had to choose between a Sean McVay and an Andy Reid, you probably lean a little bit more towards Reed, though you'd be happy with both. And I'm happy with O'Connell, but it does kind of bring the question, did a mistake get made by not signing Harbaugh right then and there? And I think that it's a discussion, and it's a reasonable one to have. But yeah,
they're both excellent coaches. It's not like one is shit and one is great.
Yeah. So it's a tough spot. I'm obviously bummed by it. I still have hope and positivity because I do truly believe in JJ. I don't know that this is going to be the year. He might need to have that Drake May style arc where the first year is rough with lumps, and next year as a starter things go well. But there's a lot of hindsight is a son of a bitch, really, with a lot of the signings and stuff that we've made this year. Because we haven't seen Ryan Kelly because he's been hurt. Javon Hargrave, Jonathan Allen haven't done a whole lot. Like, were those signings, some of our bigger money signings, really worth it? It's a good question.
Reasonable question. All right, brother. We ready to start diving into some gambling? We're about 30 minutes in. To all the people who are tuning in right now, thank you very much. If you would not mind, please like, share, and subscribe over on YouTube. X, you can subscribe, I think. I don't even fucking know. Follow us, whatever. And then TikTok. We're trying to get over 1,000 on TikTok because I would love to be able to go live on TikTok. I think it would be a nice little way to get this show out there. We do a lot of the meme type stuff as it is, and I feel like that's a little bit where the TikTok realm is. Also, shout out, speaking of meme type stuff, shout out Big Play for the Kevin Stefanski I Have to Be Better clown shirt. This thing is comfortable as fuck, and it's hilarious.
Yeah. And look, if you're looking for us on the TikTok, you can see right along our top banner here, Raw Dawg Sports, RAWDAG Sports. If you find another Raw Dawg Sports on there that doesn't have a couple dummy thick idiots like us shouting obscenities at you, it's the wrong run. There's imposters out there. We'll say that. Best of luck to me.
I forgot that I completely forgot that there was another Raw Dawg.
Every once in a while I go and look, and it still is just kind of like no videos. So I think they may have died. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I mean,
just in case.
Hopefully not. I mean, best of luck.
Not literally died.
Okay. Oh, dude, your dog is like
peeking. Yeah. She hears death and wants to know what's going on.
All right, brother, let's do it. We got 12 games. We got a lot of teams on bye this week. We ready?
Yeah, absolutely. So first up, we have the Buffalo Bills at the Carolina Panthers. Bills are favored -7.5 points, over under a 46.5. And Carolina Panthers are still trotting out two running backs in the system, Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard. But they're going up against the Bills team that's taken a couple L's recently, just coming off a bye, looking to get right. More than a touchdown spread here, Mike. What are your thoughts?
So Andy Dalton's going to be starting this game. I don't know if this is a benching or if this is he's kind of hurt. We'll see what happens with Bryce Young. But, I mean, Andy Dalton coming in, veteran quarterback, it could be a little bit closer because, I mean, those vets just kind of know how to play the game even though they're on the bench. Andy played in this league for a long fucking time. The Bills have struggled recently, especially against the run. So two running backs that can keep this thing really close and especially grind this thing down. I just don't think the Panthers are good enough to beat the Bills. I'm going Bills, money line, nice and easy.
Yeah, that's any given Sunday, the Carolina Panthers can look like complete dog water. While Andy Dalton has provided them a boost at times, I'm not ready to say that's going to happen yet because we haven't seen it yet this season. And he's not getting any younger. And so the play might start to continually and precipitously drop off. I'm of the same mindset here is that I've got the Bills on the money line, but it's absolutely possible that Carolina could keep it close just because the Bills have had such a tough time defending against the run. And, more than Chuba Hubbard, Rico Dowdle has proven that he can carry the workload as a full-time running back on an NFL team. He's done it multiple weeks, including last week with Chuba Hubbard being back. He still got the lion's share, and of the share that he got, he did make the most of it between that share. So they could keep it a lot closer. It depends on that game script if they're running a heavy running attack, or whether or not the Bills took this bye week to try to kind of tighten things up a little bit in their run defense. So I think the safe play here is Buffalo on the money line.
Great. All right, let's hit the next one, brother.
Next up, New York Jets at the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals are favored -6.5 points, over under at 44.5. Another Joe Burrow start happening out here. And we still technically don't know who the starting quarterback is for the Jets because Aaron Glenn will not tell us. However, lots of rumors about a potential fire sale there with the Jets. So I wonder how the players are feeling about that. A lot of those defensive players being looked at as potential trade chips since this season definitely looks lost. The expectation is that Tyrod Taylor is probably going to be the starter despite having a little bit of an injury. But Justin Fields is sitting there in wait as a potential guy to be the starter this week as well. I personally don't know that it's going to matter. I like the Bengals in this one. Having Flacco there and now having a little bit of extra time to prepare with this team and learn players' names on his own team. Not that he needed to learn many more names other than Jamar Chase and T. Higgins will be a benefit to him. I'm not willing to drop the points just because I know that Bengals defense is hot ass, but I'm going to take the Bengals on the money line.
I'm going to follow you there, man. The Jets, we don't know. And listen, there's a lot of guys that are not going to play or that are hurt in this game anyways. Like Gary Wilson's not playing. So Tyrod Taylor being out there doesn't make me all that much more excited because he's missing his biggest fucking weapon out on offense. Breece Hall has not had a really banger year, even though we really expected him to have an awesome kind of dual purpose role in the NFL, and it just hasn't really come to fruition there with New York yet. And they're not playing good football. I'm going to take the Bengals as well. Give me the Joe Flacco magic. Probably. I mean, Flacco fever sweeping Ohio is not new.
Yeah. And speaking of Ohio, your Cleveland Browns are going out to New England to play the Patriots. Patriots are favored in this one, -7 points, a full touchdown there, over under of 40.5. Obviously, your guys' defense pretty good. Got a nice win last week, kind of extended the lifespan of your coaching staff there, despite them thinking that Stefanski was, on thin ice or treading thin water, as my wife likes to say.
I have to be better.
Yeah. But the New England Patriots riding a high, getting a bunch of wins here recently and looking like they got a pretty light schedule going forward. Is a touchdown enough for you to take the points for your Browns here, keeping it close?
It is. I am actually taking the Browns +7 here. One of the things that the Patriots have done really well is run the ball recently. Our defense is really good at stopping the run. Now, Drake May is a dog, but the ability to work off of play action is what's really, really helped him a lot. Not that he can't beat us on his own, because I think Drake May is incredibly talented. But I like the way that we can match up against their skill players because they're not super crazy good in the skill player position. We line up really good defensively. We can stop the run pretty well. So do I think we will win this game? No, probably not. I think the Patriots are pretty good, but 7 is enough. A touchdown. This might be a push mark, right at that push mark. But I'm gonna rock with my Browns +7 points.
All right, sounds good. I'm gonna be sticking New England on the money line here. I think they could get the win. This could absolutely be a lower scoring game though, because your guys' defense is so good. I just don't know if you guys are going to be able to put together an offensive performance 2 weeks in a row. You don't have the elements, as far as I know, in this game that are going to help Kevin Stefanski dictate the game script by giving the ball to Quinshon Judkins an equitable amount of time for his talent level. And that makes me feel like, hey, maybe they're going to go back to trying to make Dylan Gabriel throw a fuckload. And if that happens,
fucking hope not.
Because that's obviously not a winning script. So I'm going with New England on the money line because I just don't trust that your coaching staff is going to stick to the right game plan. If they do play that solid defense with a just grind it out, run the ball type of game, this absolutely could be within the 7 points. But I just don't trust it yet.
Okay. I feel that. Listen, man, as a Browns fan, I'm used to having to hear your team's probably going to lose this week.
Yeah. Next up, we have the Chicago Bears going into Baltimore versus the Ravens. Ravens coming back off of bye. Technically, again, we don't truly know if Lamar is going to be starting here or if they're going to be having Huntley. However, some reports are out there. Lamar is set to start. He's been practicing this week. So the expectation is that Lamar Jackson will be out there. How big of a boost will that provide the offense? We'll see, because even with Lamar out there in some of the games, it hasn't been super pretty. We haven't seen Derrick Henry from previously, last year. We haven't seen Lamar doing all the crazy shit that he normally does. And on the flip side, the Chicago Bears doing pretty good the past couple of games. Things are starting to work out for them. Caleb's not having like explosive games or anything that necessarily, but he's actually starting to mature a little bit into his role under this Ben Johnson offense. But we're looking at Baltimore Ravens here favored by 7 points at minus 112 odds, over under a 49.5 points. Mike, thoughts on this game?
So 7 points is way too much to give up in this game, because I have no idea what the Ravens are going to be like. I do think that they will be better, though, and I think that they will win this game because Lamar Jackson, I would expect, is going to be Lamar Jackson. The season has almost gotten away from them, as it were. But he's going to come back. If he's healthy, they can still compete for this division, because we gave Joe Flacco to the Bengals and they fucked up the Patriots, the Steelers. So I think that they're going to be really motivated. This is a Harbaugh coming off a bye as well. Like, it's really hard to bet against that. Even though, listen, the Bears have been playing better. +7 for the Bears. I completely understand taking that bet. I'm playing it safe, though. I'm just going to go with the Ravens and go money line.
All right. I actually am going to take the Bears +7 points, and I do absolutely hope that they don't win this game. But I just don't trust this Ravens defense. The Ravens defense has been so ungodly terrible. And at the end of the day, Chicago does have a lot of good offensive pieces that could take advantage of this. If Caleb puts together a good game, I mean, Roma Dunze, DJ Moore, Swift has, played extremely well the past couple of games.
Yeah.
And so if they're able to kind of put together a decent looking offense here, they should have the capability to put up some points on this Baltimore team, which is why we're looking at an over under 49.5. They're expecting each team to put up roughly 25 points here. So I'm going to go Chicago plus the points because they have been playing good the past couple of weeks. I absolutely, again, for the NFC North standings, hope that they lose and just keep it within that touchdown. But I'll take the Bears plus the points.
All right. Makes sense to me, but I'm listen, I had the Ravens going fucking 16-1. I don't think that they're a bad team just yet. I think that they were hurt. Well, their defense sucks dick, though. They're a bad defense.
Yeah. All right. Next up, San Francisco 49ers, or the San Francisco 49 IRs. Going up against the Houston Texans. Texans favoring this one, -2.5 points, over under 41.5. Texans kept it actually relatively close with the Seattle Seahawks in their previous game. They were able to get multiple turnovers on that Seattle Seahawks team, which is pretty damn good. But again, one of, if not the worst offensive line in the NFL there for the Texans, going up against the 49ers team that it sounds like Brock Purdy is going to be out again. Mac Jones starting yet another game. But this 49er team has been getting some dubs recently as well. And that defense is showing that they can be pretty feisty, even without the likes of Fred Warner or the Bosa out there. So, Mike, thoughts on this game? -2.5 for the Texans feels a little odd to me personally. And
why'd you have to do that?
These things.
Why did you have to do that? I'm
Look,
taking
if we're both thinking it,
yeah. I mean, because I am thinking, I'm taking the 49ers on the money line. The 49ers have been really good. They dropped a game last week. Mac Jones turns the ball over a couple times. I mean, the Texans have a good defense. Yes. Their offense has been so stagnant. Nico Collins out in this game, I'm pretty sure, as well. So they're going to be it's going to be really hard for them to find guys to get the ball to. And that offensive line, like you said, in my opinion, is the worst in fucking football. So I'm going to take the 49ers money line.
Yeah, and look, because if y'all don't know what we're talking about here, what we're not saying, I'm just going to fucking say it because I need to. We don't understand the line in this game. The 49ers are hurt, but they still have been playing well despite being hurt. the Texans taking some injuries, not playing great ball, have a really good defense, but in general, not playing the best ball, bad offensive line, and it's tough to understand why they are favored, even though they're at home. When we bring that sort of information up and we say we don't understand this spread, usually
Vegas
we get
fucked
fucked on
us.
our bet. But I'm going San Francisco on the money line here too, man. I can't talk myself into even a Texans win or money line or anything like that. So
yeah, let alone dropping the points for the Texans right here. There's no fucking way.
Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it. I guess it has to be because they played that Seattle team closer last week, and Seattle is a pretty damn good team. I don't know. I can't get behind it. Next up, we have the Miami Dolphins going out to Atlanta versus the Falcons. Falcons are favored by 7.5 points, over under 44.5. I guess Tua is starting this game.
He says he's going to take the snaps. Hopefully he doesn't throw fucking a billion picks.
Yeah. Really interesting to bring up the exact number of picks that Tua has thrown this year. Yeah, like hopefully he doesn't throw 10 picks. Not pointed at all with those comments from the head coach. That being said, Miami Dolphins have been bad this year, right? Darren Waller, one of their offensive surprises, is out with a pec injury. And that defense perennially gets torched by running backs, at least this year. And you're going up against an Atlanta Falcons team that just dropped one to San Fran. They're going back home, and they have Bijan Robinson. It doesn't spell a good recipe here. And that's why Atlanta's favored by a little over a touchdown. They get the hook past a touchdown at -7.5 at -108 odds. It gets me to the point where I could almost drop those points here. Again, though, I'm playing it safe just because I want to get this betting record better. I'm taking the Falcons on the money line.
I'm also taking the Falcons on the money line. Bijan Robinson is one of the most dynamic players in the league, let alone at the running back spot. And the fucking Dolphins cannot stop a running back from doing anything. It could be a fucking blowout, but I'm not going to drop the points. Falcons money line.
Yeah. All righty. Next up, New York Giants going against Philadelphia. And yes, this happened just a couple weeks ago, except for that game was in New York. This one is in Philly. Philadelphia is favored by 7 points, over under 43.5. And I will remind you, Philadelphia Eagles beat my Vikings on Sunday last week by 6 points. And the Giants beat Philadelphia a couple weeks ago in New York. Is the home field advantage going to be that big of a deal for the Eagles? I don't know. A.J. Brown's not in this game, so it is possibly going to force them into a little bit more of a run scheme. But the way that the Giants played last week, could be looked at as positive or a negative. They were beating the shit out of the Broncos and then gave up a historic 33 points in the fourth quarter. Is that defense going to be able to hold up or not? I'm not so sure, but I have faith that they can keep within a touchdown. I'm taking the Giants plus the points.
I was not expecting to agree on this one. I am also taking the Giants plus the points. The loss of A.J. Brown, I think, is going to be big because that connection has been starting to grow back. The Giants, I don't think this is a team that falls off the edge because they had a heartbreak loss. This is a team that comes back with resolve, it feels like, because they had a heartbreak loss. So I'm riding with the Giants plus the points. We'll see if the CTE tandem can fucking get it done again against an Eagles team, or at least keep this bitch close.
And I will put this out there. I don't know who's going to be the kicker here for the Giants. Is it Younghoe Koo? Didn't they bring him in? I can't
remember. I have no
either
idea
way.
where the fuck he's at.
The kicker from last week isn't there, and if that guy wasn't there, Giants probably would have won that game versus a good Broncos team. So I think that they can keep this one at least close with Philadelphia here. All right, next up, Tampa Bay Buccaneers going against the New Orleans Saints. Baker hates New Orleans. Had some comments about that this week, about how they play a little bit chippier, maybe a little bit of a dirty brand of football, as he alluded to. But the Buccaneers, away team, favored -4.5 points, over under 46.5. No Mike Evans, no Bucky Irving again. They're going to be riding behind Rashad White And Emeka Egbuka is officially off of the injury report, despite having that hamstring injury that has kind of bothered him the past couple of weeks. Mike, thoughts on this one?
I'm rocking with the Bucs here, man. So Tez really kind of showed that he can be a viable piece of this offense. They're going to have to start working K. Dotton in a little bit more as well with the loss of Mike Evans as that big body guy. But Emeka Egbuka, if he's healthy, he's already shown he's one of the probably top 10, top 15 wide receiver in the NFL. I mean, his route running is exceptional. He's explosive all over the field. Like, he's fantastic. And the Saints, while I like elements of that team, they're not going to beat the Bucs. Not in my estimation. I'm not dropping the points, but I am going to rock with Bucs money line there.
Yep. I'm taking the safe route as well. Tampa Bay on the money line here. This is a divisional game. Divisional games typically play a little bit closer. And, the Saints haven't been just a pushover team despite being pretty bad in general. So they have the capacity at home to keep this one a little bit closer. I do like a bounce back, though, from Tampa Bay to get the win here. So I'll be going Tampa Bay on the money line as well. Next up, Tennessee Titans versus the Indianapolis Colts. And we got a whopper of a spread here, minus 14.5 points for the Indianapolis Colts at minus 110 odds, over under a 46.5. And look, I love me some fucking Colts. I do think that they're going to win by 14.5 points. I don't pick spreads that big. I just don't. I can't bring myself to it. I'm going Colts on the money line. I'm expecting a big game from the Colts here because this Titans team is hot ass. But I mean, theoretically, you could talk me in. If you're wanting to bet,
they could win this by 30.
Yeah, don't. If you're wanting to bet this, I caution you, don't take the Colts on the money line because at minus 1,350 odds, that's a terrible bet. That just will tank a parlay, and it's not worth you putting an individual money line bet on this at all. That being said, I love the Colts in this game. I think this one's a lock. Give me the Colts on the money line.
Colts money line, they're going to beat the shit out of the Titans. If it were 13.5, I would drop it. 14.5 is tougher because two touchdowns and the hook, they're going to kill them, I think. Like I said, they could win by 30. I'm just not willing to drop that many points if it's my money.
Yeah. All right, next up, Dallas Cowboys at the Denver Broncos. Broncos are favored at home, minus 3.5 at minus 105 odds. Over under of 50.5, expected to be a little bit of a high scoring game. And part of that comes from the fact that I guess Bo Nix, despite not playing 3/4 of the game last week, did put up 33 points. We keep on talking about this in that win versus the Giants. And the Dallas Cowboys have shown that while they aren't too good on defense, they can put up a lot on offense. But they are going up against a good Denver Broncos defense here. So, Mike, thoughts on this game? I do think it's a little bit of an interesting matchup because we are talking about a team that has a sometimes floundering offense with a really good defense going up against a really good offense with a dog shit defense.
It's one of those stylistic matches. One of these teams is somebody's best thing is gonna win out. And for me, I think it's gonna be the Broncos and their defense. I understand that this Cowboys offense has been really, really explosive. The Broncos defense at times has struggled as well, but the matchups at wide receiver and corner in this, I think are going to be really in favor of the Broncos. The physicality. CD is a very good receiver. Pickens is a good receiver. At times, if you get physical with CD, you can kind of rattle him a little bit. Pickens, being physical with him, you can set him off in one of two ways. He'll either go off on you and go crazy, or
he'll try to fight you.
Or he'll fight you and get you completely out of his head. So I'm going to.
So this is a big Ferguson game, you're saying?
It could be. Well, hey, he's been a great number one tight end in fantasy football this year. So it could be. I'm rocking with the Broncos, though, man. I'm going Broncos money line.
All right. I'm going to take Dallas plus the points. I do think their offense is really explosive. I think that week in and week out, we see this Broncos offense just kind of sputter and putter along throughout the game. And then they do start to figure shit out by the end of it. But by that time, Dallas might have put up enough points. And I think that they have the capacity to put up more points purely talent-wise than the Giants. Like, all credit to Scatterboo, all credit to Jackson Dart. and Wan'Dale Robinson, what they were able to do out there last week in Denver. But that was them hitting like their peak capacity with the offensive players that they have right now, because they don't have a lot at wide receiver. In their running game, Scadaboot is going to run through a fucking brick wall, but he's not one that's going to be explosive per se. Dallas has explosive players all over the offense. They got a good running back at Javonte Williams. They got a good tight end. They got two good wide receivers and some role players as well at wide receiver. And Dak Prescott is having himself a hell of a season. So I'm going to take Dallas plus the points. I think that they have a possibility of actually winning this game outright just because their offense can be that much better than we even saw from the Giants last week. And the Giants were able to put up a ton of points. Denver, I think, is going to lock things down a little bit, but that has to be like a gut check to say, like, hey, we barely slipped by in this one last week. And will they be able to rebound there at home? We'll see. I'll take Dallas plus points.
All right.
Next up, Green Bay versus Pittsburgh. In Pittsburgh, this is Aaron Rodgers' first time playing his old Packers team. I was surprised to hear that. I guess they might have played just the first year.
Achilles, so
yeah. Either way, Green Bay is favoring this one -3 points, over under of 45.5. Is this going to be a Rodgers revenge game where they'll be able to get the dub here?
No, the Packers are a better team than the Steelers are. And I know you don't like to hear that, but it makes me feel good because I hate the Steelers. The pass rush for the Packers is going to cause a huge problem for the Steelers, in my estimation. I would not be surprised to see Michael get home a couple of times. The Steelers have been much better recently. They have, their defense has been good, even though they're old, but they have also been torched recently by, now granted it's Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, but I feel like they are susceptible in the back end because of how old that secondary is. They just can't, they're not running with guys. If they're not scheming good defense, if they're not confusing guys with like zone blitzes, they're just not cannot keep up. So I'm going to rock with the Packers, their young receiver core on the money line.
All right, Green Bay money line. I'm going to take Pittsburgh plus points here. Part of it is I really want to see the Packers drop one. The other part of it is that the Packers almost dropped one last week to the Cardinals, who I don't think are that good. I think that this is a softer team than they kind of show, specifically on offense. I don't think the Packers offense is as good as maybe they looked in week 1 versus Detroit. They have not had a propensity to run up the number on teams, which means that this one could be a lower scoring game. The Steelers have shown that they are able to kind of bully some teams with those large guys on the offensive line and at tight end. They're able to play some bully ball. DK Metcalf is good for the jump ball. And Aaron Rodgers has shown that they can run a good, quick passing game. That will completely negate that pass rush from the Packers. So I don't like voting for either of these teams to get the win here. But I will take Pittsburgh plus the points just because I think it could be a little bit of a lower scoring game, which also kind of edges me to think maybe going the under here of 45.5 is something that would be an option for people if they're looking to gamble it a little bit.
Ooh, and I love the edging. All right, brother, we ready for Monday Night Football?
Yes, absolutely. We have the Washington Commanders going up against the Kansas City Chiefs, and Chiefs are favored minus 11.5 points here. Another big one because Washington Commanders are going to be without Jaden Daniels again. I'm unsure about their receiving options, to be completely honest here. I don't know if that's something that you can look up for me while I go on a little diatribe here. But look, I think that the Commanders are not a fantastic team. They don't look like the same team that they looked like last year. Part of it is Jaden Daniels hasn't been there. But the other part of it is that when Jaden Daniels has been there, they still haven't looked super explosive, or especially in the run game. Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt, Bill Merritt has not kind of turned into what we had hoped that he would as a running back. And the defense does kind of look a little bit old and slow. Meanwhile, the Chiefs are riding high. They got Rashee Rice back. They got Travis Kelce. They got the refs. And Mahomes is having what looks to be almost a career type year if it wasn't for the fact that he threw 50 fucking touchdowns as a first-year starter. Again, double-digit point here on the spread. I'm not taking it, but I am taking Kansas City on the money line.
All right, so Jaden Daniels did not practice. Will be out. But wide receiver Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel, full practice Thursday and Friday. Looks like they're both scheduled to go. So that will help out Marcus Mariota, who is scheduled to start in this game. But it's not going to make enough difference for me because, listen, when we're talking about the Chiefs in large point spreads, I immediately stay away from them. They don't ever cover huge point spreads. And if they do,
Washington on the spread there of 11.5 points.
Yeah, so listen, you could. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to go with what I feel like is safe.
Not today.
I'm going to go with the Chiefs on the money line.
Yeah. Kansas City on the money line definitely seems like the safe bet there.
Yeah. You go. Is that so? You following that Chiefs money line?
Oh yeah, Kansas City on the money line for sure. Because like I said, I am down. Last year I was high on the Commanders going into the year, saying, "Hey, this could be a surprise team," and lo and behold, they were pretty fucking good last year. This year, not so much. I'm off of them.
Okay. Cool. Well, brother, that does all of our standalone games, but we are not done yet because our pupper, who's been a fucking badass pupper the last couple of weeks, is coming back with hopefully another 3-leg parlay to fucking give the people some more money. Last 2 weeks he's hit. So what do we got here today? What has Blitz cooked up for us?
Yeah, so Caleb Williams going up against that porous defense for the Ravens, 225 or more passing yards. And this is actually minus 108 odds. This is a little bit of a typo on here for you guys. So it's actually minus 108. You could also take 220 or more than 222.5 passing yards at minus 114 odds. The pupper's not good. No opposable thumbs, not good at typing. We have Christian McCaffrey getting an anytime touchdown because he's been the heart and soul of that offense. And then Bijan Robinson going against a terrible defense there, the Dolphins. Over 128.5 rushing and receiving yards combined. Again, Rico Dowdle, not as good as a Bijan, I would say. I think that's fair, right? And he went for over 200 rushing yards against this Dolphins team just a couple weeks ago. So Bijan, one of the better backs in the league, getting a combined 128.5 rushing and receiving yards, probably a safe bet.
It feels very safe. I like it. So if you guys want to tail Blitz, there it is. I mean, I hope 3 in a row. That's a streak. 1's good. 2's great. 3 is a streak, though. Let's go streaking, Blitz.
Absolutely. All right. And then we have our week 8 bets. These are all of our picks for the week 8 games. Feel free to tail us. Feel free to fade us. Again, we have some games on here that we would tell you right off the bat, especially that Indianapolis game. Don't do the money line. Don't, because it will tank a parlay for you. But if you want to pick every single game that we have, obviously I started off Thursday night in the loss column here, but you have the opportunity to do that. You can see our winning percentages there for the year on the bottom of the screen. That can help you kind of decide where you want to go with your bets and how we've been doing. But with that, Mike, I think that's our show.
Hell yeah. Well, everybody, thank you very much for tuning in. We love doing this, and we only get to do this because you guys are awesome. Time is the most valuable thing that you have. So anytime that you give us some of your time, we are forever grateful. We are going to get out of here. Games Sunday. Got a lot of stuff going on tomorrow. So I had to do a Friday show. So Evo, thank you very much for being flexible and adjusting tonight. With that, my man, I'm going to give you one last word, then we're going to get the hell out of here.
All right. This is Evo's cooking tips, and I only learned this today. Hamburgers. If you're making hamburgers, mix in French onion powder mix. Specifically, Lipton French onion mix. Had a burger today, cooked at work with Lipton French onion mix in it. Game changer. Fucking phenomenal. All right. So Evo's Cooking Corner, give it a try. It's actually on the package to mix it into your burgers, apparently. Would have never known that. But well worth it if you want to spice up your dinner over the weekend.
Hell yeah. Very interesting. I have to give that a shot, my man. Appreciate you. Thank you to everybody out there. I am Mike. That is Emo. This is Raw Dawg Sports, and I have to be better. We'll see you on Tuesday night. See ya.
Yeah.